All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Irrational Confidence Podcast. We're talking college football, and we're recapping Rivalry Week. It's been up, it's been down, and I'd be lying to you to say that I'm a joyous ray of sunshine right now because I'm more frustrated than I've ever been in college football. You know, this Rivalry Week went over like a dog fart in a church. So, man who doesn't ever fart in church, my co-host, Fresh, how you doing, buddy?
Perhaps. Outside of results for some people's favorite teams, the action, the close games, the intensity, the drama all across the whole entire weekend was powerful the entire time. It was fantastic. You sort of have the drama at the end of the game, and then you go into the 3:30 kicks with Alabama's miracle touchdown, and then Washington State and the Apple Cup coming down to it. The drama in Florida State, Georgia Tech putting up one heck of a fight, versus the Dogs. It was just games after games, implications everywhere. It's what you wanted. The last game of the season, people laying it on the line, bowl eligibility there. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. Great bunch of games, and it just started off so sour to me, unfortunately, and I don't know. I really don't know. I'm more frustrated than anything else because I think the thing that stinks the most for me, Fresh, that we start prepping for the season all the way back. I mean, when the season's over, we usually move to NFL. Once college basketball and the draft is over, we start working on the following year's college football because spring games are already done. We start looking at schedules. We start looking at, who's coming back, who had a nice spring, who's moved in the transfer portal. And then all of a sudden, you get this week in November that is just a phenomenal week of football. And it's a great week of football, don't get me wrong. But all of a sudden, boom, it's over. And if you aren't playing in your conference title game, it's over like that. And now you got either a bowl game to look for. It could be a meaningless bowl game. It could be a New Year's Day 6 game. But especially in this day and age with players opting out and stuff like that, it becomes a challenge like to ramp yourself back up as a fan. So especially as an Ohio State fan, I'll get to that here a little bit later. But, stay tuned. Guys, make sure, before you go, we've had a great season so far. So make sure you hit that subscribe button up there in the corner. Hit the notification bell. Get notified every single time we drop a new episode. We are going to do a conference preview. I will get out of my feelings at some point or another here. I might go full emo for a couple days and rock myself to sleep. But we will do the conference title games. We will do bowl week. We will do the college football playoff and then move everything forward going into NFL season. So don't miss a single episode. Hit that subscribe button. Get notified. And that's the best way to support the channel. So, Fresh, let's go into this. Offensive Player of the Week. I think it's a pretty easy. There's two selections I really liked in this one, but I think really one is just a home run guy. Who do you got? I think you got the same guy I got.
It's pretty tough the way the implications came down. I think Ollie Gordon, the way that he carried the Oklahoma State Cowboys, pulled them back out of the middle of nowhere, got them to the Big 12 title game, got that W. I mean, he basically put that team on his back because obviously Bowman had 2 picks and they were sort of struggling, but he took care of business, got them there. It was Mike Gundy owes him a lot, but the play calling, the way the team rallied behind him, and the way he carried that club, down the stretch was absolutely fantastic. He deserves that 5 touchdown effort, and he's the best running back in the country right now.
Right, Ollie Gordon was my pick as well. There, Fresh. I gave a real quick, kind of like tip of the cap to excuse me, Casey Washington, wide receiver out of Illinois, in that absolute shootout with Northwestern. He had a great game out of there. You take a look, 9 catches over 200 yards, 3 touchdowns for him. SMA also, over there in Notre Dame, 238 and 4 touchdowns. Just an amazing job. Sama out of Iowa State had a great game. There's a lot of really good games, but I would say Ollie Gordon just because, like you said, implications for me as well. So I think that was huge for him. And I agree. Best running back in the country.
I mean, dudes were emptying the tank this past week. Like you said, it's very finite. Unless you're playing in a conference championship game, this is either you beat your rival, or to get into a bowl game, or to cap off a great season. So you're going all out, not worrying about next week. There was just exhaustive, amazing efforts across the board.
Let's see if we have the same defensive player of the week. Who you got for defensive player of the week?
Well, I'm going back to the Egg Bowl. Nathaniel Watson, 21 tackles, leading tackler in the country right now. But the dude, you got there, you're 21 versus Ole Miss. You left it all on the field. He's definitely the running for some postseason awards, and I actually placed our postseason award article on spinablesports.com, so you want to check that out. But he had a heck of a night there in the Egg Bowl, and they gave it all they could. They still do not have enough offense to pull that one out.
Yeah, I checked that out on Spinable Sports earlier before we were logging in. I was reading your article. I do have a few things that I disagree with you there on Fresh, but
I'm not shocked by that.
Yeah, well, what else is new? Which we mostly get those off into the show text message. Fresh, my defensive player of the week, I went over there to the UNC-NC State game. Peyton Wilson had a day for himself. Take a look at him, 15 tackles on a day, 2 tackles for a loss, a sack, get an interception. The Wolfpack had a party over there. I mean, we talked about this in our preview when we talked about what it would mean for NC State. You know, they're 9-3, 6-2 in the ACC, and have a chance for a 10-win season. I mean, again, Dave Dorn, amazing job there in Raleigh, man. Hats off to you, because he did an amazing job with a Wolfpack team that, you know, going into the season, yeah, we thought they could have some success, but no one saw this level of success. So great job out of them.
No, the way he's kept that team all organized, focused. They lose Devin Leary, the transfer portal before the year. Bring in Brandon Armstrong. Armstrong struggles. They bring him back into the starting rotation, get him back in the fold, and that defense just takes over. And they just find ways to win. Like 2021, they had 9 wins going into bowl season. Hopefully, they get to play in a bowl game, and good luck from there.
Yeah. All right, Fresh. Who's your Heisman pick right now?
It's Jaden Daniels. Dude has 3,800 yards passing, 40 touchdowns, completed 72.2% of his passes, 1,134 yards rushing, averaging 8.4 yards a carry and 10 rushing touchdowns. That's 50 touchdowns, almost 5,000 yards total offense. He's the one-man wrecking crew. I don't care about the record right now. He's a one-man wrecking crew, and he is gonna run away with it, I think.
I disagree because I think that it's Bo Nix's award now. I've been on the Michael Penix Jr. bandwagon since the very, very start of the season. I take a look at this. The difference for me is I know Jaden Daniels, great, he has had a great season, but LSU has 3 losses on the year. Bo Nix has 1 loss on the year. He's got his team into the conference title game, get a chance to get revenge in that loss. You take a look, you rattled off Jaden Daniels' stats there. Bo Nix, with how, and again, I think it comes down to the story with how far he's come. With the miserable seasons they had at Auburn, completed almost 79% of his passes for 3,900 yards, 37 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. He's only taken 5 sacks on the year. That was the other thing that I went with Daniels. I know he's a little bit more mobile quarterback, take a little bit more sacks. But then on top of that, you talk about Daniels' rushing stats as well, and 10 touchdowns. Bo Nix has had 6 rushing scores himself. And it's taken me a long time to get on the Bo Nix bandwagon. I did everything in my power to resist the urge to go on the Bo Nix bandwagon. I didn't want to do it. I'm forcing myself to do it now because, after watching what Oregon did to Oregon State this past weekend, I seriously think Bo Nix is best quarterback in the country, probably one of the best players in the country.
Well, I think the losses, that shouldn't really take much into consideration because Lamar Jackson won it with multiple losses. Tim Tebow won it with multiple losses. It's been done. I think it's what the production on the field. I think Bo Nix and him are number 1, number 2. I think Penix has definitely fallen off. If Bo Nix goes out there and puts on a show with everybody watching on Friday night, it might make a significant impact because it is the last impression. They're not going to see Jaden Daniels play anymore. That's the one thing he has to advantage. He has to go out and show out versus Washington and win a Pac-12 title. And if he does with 4 or 5 touchdowns, that might sway the voters just because it's going to be the last thing they saw unless they've already submitted their ballot by now.
Right. And that's a huge thing. It's huge, that extra game right there, especially with the idea of Andy got revenge for the 1 loss he's had this year. But we'll see. we'll see where it goes there. All right, Fresh. What was your game of the week?
I mean, I could have gone Apple Cup. I could have gone the Iron Bowl. I'm not going to give it the Iron Bowl because Auburn, what are you doing? That was horrible. Rushed two guys, the defensive back. I can't. That's not a game of the week. That's just ridiculous. It goes back to where Ollie Gordon took over. Oklahoma State, they were getting taken to the woodshed by BYU. They were on the cusp. Oklahoma, their heart evil rival, was thinking they were going to Arlington to play on Saturday, play Texas, and they stormed back, double overtime, win the game, escape. Oklahoma State going to play Texas now for the Big 12 title, their second trip there in the past 3 years, and they have a chance to give Texas a nice little send-off. I don't think it's going to happen, but there's crazier things have happened, but here they are. Mike Gundy got the Cowpokes to Arlington playing for a title, kept that team resilient and taking out BYU and surviving and advancing.
Yeah, absolutely. I took a long time to think about this one here, Fresh, and I went back and forth. And I got to give it to Matt Campbell and the Iowa State Cyclones, pulling off a huge upset, keeping K-State. K-State, I know, was already out of the Big 12 title game as of the time of this game there. But, Iowa State was down early in the fourth quarter, 28-35. They scored two big touchdowns. They have two big plays to end that game, and they go on to win it. And it's just a huge one, especially being played in that snow condition there, and it just being a fun, that's football right there. And especially to see them put up 42 points, keep the defending champs of the Big 12 out of the title game. And again, like I said, I know that they're already out, but yeah. Hey, Matt Campbell, great job.
Farmageddon in a blizzard. It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah. All right, Fresh. Disappointment of the week.
There's one that I want to say, but I'll save it for you. I'm going with actually the Louisville Cardinal. You've lost 5 straight to Kentucky, but this time that Kentucky team, how you let that one slip away? You just turnovers where you're looking ahead to Florida State, you fumbled it away. Very, very bad look. Yeah, you still have the AC title game to play up here in Charlotte this upcoming Saturday, but that was just a momentum killer, I think, for that team. On the other side, though, also Air Force. It's not just this week, but you've collected 3 conference losses in the past 4 weeks, I think, just crapping away a chance to play for a Mountain West title. Just loss after loss. You lose to Boise State, who just fired their coach 2 weeks ago. You're not playing with your starting quarterback. I get it, but that way that you just completely fell off the map and let the entire season slip away is pretty brutal.
Yeah, Fresh. I got 2, and I'll start off with this one. UCLA. At one point, you were a top-ranked team, and you go and play Cal, and you just coming off a huge win, beating your rival USC, and then you get boat raced by California. Bad job out of you. Bad job out of you. UCLA, your defense should be much better than to be able to give Cal. I don't care what went on there. Cal should never have put up 33 points against you in that game. Bad job out of you. My other one, dude, is the Ohio State Buckeyes. And it's a disappointing thing because it's a variety of reasons why I'm disappointed with that game and let me down. I know the easy thing is going to be people are going to pile on to Ryan Day and say, like, he wasn't prepared, can't coach, or blah, 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 or it doesn't mean anything to him. Ryan Day is not if Ohio State moves on from Ryan Day after this year, then I think that's absolutely ridiculous. You don't go whatever he is, 56-7 now, or 57-7, whatever his record is. It's up there, and say like, oh, okay, let's just cast off this guy without. You better have a really, really, really amazing guy who can recruit to that level, who can do the things that he does on a year in, year out basis. Even with Urban, they would always be occasionally good for a loss to like a Purdue or Minnesota or someone like that every year. And just, you felt like they weren't prepared and looked ahead for something. Same thing with Tressel and anything else like that. The comparisons to John Cooper are not fair. It's not. I've wrote about this before. Drives me nuts. But my problem with Ohio State is comes down to like Kyle McCord, and I felt like he just, I don't know, he put them in that situation and then single handedly kind of pulled them out of the situation, then lost them the game. And if it's not for him, none of those things happen. But this is not what Ohio State football is all about. Like, and that's the thing. You haven't beat the Wolverines in 5 years now. It's been 5 years since the last time you beat the Wolverines. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. You're on a 3-game losing streak. I get it. Okay. And you can say what you want about the COVID year. Now, I know next year is going to be very different. The Wolverines are going to graduate or have about 40 different players move on. They got all sorts of craziness up in the air with their coaching situation. There's a lot of rumors out there about what's going to happen to them next year. But I'm going to tell you, Ryan Day, if you do not beat them next year in Columbus, then again, you deserve to be gone at that point. I'm at that point where I'm going to give him one more year because I think that there's still a lot to be said. And I think that he is a really, really good coach. And that game could have turned out a whole heck of a lot worse than what it did. But this is it just leaves such a sour taste. It's such a disappointing thing too. Fresh, I start off with this. It's like, again, it just leaves you, it's the level of being disappointed. It's like your wife saying that she's tired on your anniversary. It's that level of disappointment. It just looks like you're just, I don't know. Because now we have to wait for an Orange Bowl berth where Marvin Harrison Jr., Travion Henderson, Meke Ibuka are all going to opt out. Half the JTT, Michael Hall, Jack Sawyer, they're going to opt out. How many of the linebackers are going to opt out? Who's going to actually be playing in the Orange Bowl? I mean, I guess you're going to serve it as like a winter spring game and get some young guys some reps. Great. Good job out of you. Like, great. But that's a crappy consolation prize in my eyes. And I hate that. I think that Kyle McCord was the issue in this situation because you have 2 first-round wide receivers. You probably have Travion Henderson is a borderline first or second round running back. Defensive or offensive line, shaky at times. But you had one of the nation's best defenses. And I think that Kyle McCord put them into too many pressure situations, put them at too many disadvantages, and you played from behind, and is what it is. You didn't make adjustments, so I know that the buck stops at Ryan Day, and if the university wants to fire him, whatever, great, but I disagree with that move, and I would have a hard time pulling for the Buckeyes if they do something as drastic as that this offseason.
Well, I mean, first off, I have to publicly apologize to Michigan. I've hated on you guys. If I've had some serious doubts, you guys came out and did what you had to do, like you've always done. Own the line of scrimmage, run the football, play action, play from ahead the entire time. You followed the exact same script. You've never gotten in a position where you're down by double digits and having to fight back, except for when you play Georgia and TCU in your playoff games. You do what you have to do. You follow your script and you take it to them. You're going to go the Iowa game. Congratulations, you're going to play the Big Ten title. It's actually probably more of a hurt for Michigan than it is a positive because you could potentially get players injured. It just does you no good in that football game either way, whatever the result is. But you've done what you're supposed to do. You came out here, you fought against adversity, and you ran the ball. And you know what? You challenged the manhood of Ohio State front seven on both sides of the ball, and you dominated the line of scrimmage. I thought the Ohio State defense was going to show up this year and actually get off the field and make stops, and they couldn't. I think that's where the mystery of the Jim Mills defense, we've seen improvement. We've seen guys playing fast, and they just didn't seem like they were clicking for the full 60 minutes, getting stops and tackling when they should. It was disappointing to watch if you're a Buckeye fan. But if you're a Michigan fan, you just see a team that's doing what they're supposed to do. They follow the script. And Ryan Day, you're going to have to really evaluate the quarterback position because losing those superstars on offense, how are you going to make up for that? That's you're definitely losing some talent at wide receiver. How do you evaluate the quarterback room? How do you evaluate the running backs? How's this offense and this football team going to become complementary going forward to balance each other out? Because a high-flying offense you've had the past few years, This was not the case. We knew this team coming in was not going to be a high-flying offense. It was not the elite offense of the last year, or the year before that. The defense is going to have to be a more of a balanced approach and give them, equal opportunity. The defense let you down when it mattered. The offense couldn't get key, possessions and scores. And that's going to be some serious using those practices for the bowl game and evaluating the quarterback position is the biggest one. With the transfer portal the way it is, you might even have to go out and get a kid in the transfer portal to come in here who's a little more ready than McCord or whoever else you have on, Devin Brown, whoever else you want to have in that group. You've got to figure that out because, like Seth said, you have 1 year. And another, if you lose another one, I think the excuses are done.
Right. And the crazy thing is, you take a look at what their recruiting class looks like, and their recruiting class going into next, like it is Ohio State and Georgia, like neck and neck for the top recruiting class right now. 24/7 has them. If you take a look at like the average commit level, is they're within a tenth of a point within each other. And you're talking about the two best recruiters right now in the country. And then there's at least a full point difference between them and everyone else. You take a look at what's going on there. I mean, Florida looks like they're okay, but Florida may go off on that one because they're about ready to fire probably Billy Napier. I'm shocked he hasn't lost his job yet. But again, fresh, you take a look, you got Klein Holtz that came in there to the backup quarterback. You got freshman Aaron Nolan, who is a dual threat. I'm excited to see what he can do maybe for you and see where you go with that because something's got to change. Something's got to change for this Ohio State team. I can't stomach this for another year. I cannot stand this for another year. I need to see something more out of them. So whatever. And one other thing, Fresh, bad job out of me and you. We spent our whole preview for the Texas preview talking about Jonathan Brooks, and we got called out in the comment section, which is always a whole heap and heck of a lot of fun right down there that we missed that Jonathan Brooks tore his ACL and is out for the year.
I haven't listened to that recap, so I'm not sure what we missed there.
Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that episode, so I'm not sure why that was brought up. But let's move on to our top 25.
Okay. Again, go ahead, Fresh.
All right, well, I got Georgia number 1, Michigan number 2, Washington 3, Florida State 4. I think Florida State wins out. They're in no matter what. Rodemaker played well enough, I think, to give them a chance and a fighting chance. He's not Jordan Travis, but the team definitely rallied. 5, Oregon, 6, Texas, 7, Alabama. I have Ohio State at 8 because their defense completely let them down, and the quarterback position did not show up when it mattered. 9, Missouri, 10, Ole Miss, 11, Oklahoma, and 12, Penn State. LSU 13, Tulane 14, and Arizona 15.
Yeah. I don't care at this point. University of Toledo is my number 1 team. Liberty's number 2. I don't know. Again, guys, you can tell by my mood. I'm at that point where I'm legitimately frustrated. And this is what happens. Like I told people again, you're gonna get people like, oh, I'll give you a few days waiting period before I do it. I'm like, no, you're gonna get just a ghost, and I will not be talking about it. Again, my top, in all legitimacy, because you don't want to tune in to hear me belly aching the whole time here. My top 25 here. I'm gonna put the Wolverines in at number 1, beating the Buckeyes. It's a great win from them. We've always messed with their schedule, and it was a dominant win by them. So I'm going to move them up to number 1. Give me Georgia at 2. I'll move Oregon to 3. Florida State, good job out of you guys. You haven't had this. I'm going to put Florida State in at 4. Washington, I have a lot of questions about them. They're going to number 5. I'll put Texas in at 6. Ohio State in at 7 to me. Alabama's still, I did not think highly of that Auburn team, so I'm going to put Alabama there at 8. I'm between Penn State. Penn State was dominant against Michigan State. Michigan State made a great hire, though. So give me Penn State at 9, Missouri at 10, Oklahoma at 11. I don't like this Ole Miss team. I don't think very highly of this Ole Miss team, so everyone else is going to put them way higher, so I'm not going to.
Seth is
Arizona,
salty. I love it.
I'm very salty. I'm very much in my feelings right now. Where am I at? 12 or 13?
12.
I don't know.
12.
12. All right, give me Arizona at 12. Give me, I said Oklahoma already. Louisville at 14. And again, you know what? University of Toledo in at 15.
There go the Rockets.
I love the Rockets right now. They deserve to be higher. They're 11-1, and their one loss is shady at best in that first week of the season. And again, people be like, "Oh, what about Ole Miss?" Ole Miss is a joke, man. I watched that Egg Bowl. I was not impressed by them one iota. Again, you beat Mississippi State by 10 at home, a team that you should have dominated, like lane train in your great offense. Where is that? Like, come on, man. I need to see better out of Ole Miss if you want me to take you seriously. I got Tulane up there as well. Great job out of Arizona, man. They had a great season. Again, they're another one, 9-3 on the year. Good job out of you. They had a great year. Liberty also 12-0. We'll see. We'll see what else happens there.
Everybody, just so you remember, we got a new nickname. It's going to be Seth Saltine Happel. We're going to run with that. If you want to use Haps or Saltine, I think they both work here.
Yeah. Well, we can be saltine right now, but sooner or later I'll get back to normal eventually. But yeah, this week right now, and you just wait till the conference previews because I'm just going to probably just blow stuff up and just make outrageous claims. Tune in for that. Hey, tune in for that. If you want to hear me make some outrageous claims about the conference title games, make sure you hit that subscribe button because it's going to be a fun time to watch. Now I'll be over things now. I'll be more realistic. But I can do this for a wrap-up show. I'll take myself way more respectable in a conference preview game. Or maybe I won't. So, hey, like, subscribe wherever you get your podcast from. Leave us that 5-star review because you know Fresh and I, we are those 5-star prospects. Special thanks to our producer, Drew. Without him, none of this is possible. He's done a great job all year long, so got to give a shout-out to him. Make sure you visit spinnablesports.com. Yep, that's spinnablesports.com, where you can get all sorts of fun information. And make sure you check out that Spinnable Sports YouTube channel. It's pretty awesome here. Leave us the comments down below. Like, subscribe, share, whatever you do. That helps us out because guess what, folks? This is all free. You don't got to pay for anything. It just helps us if you can support the channel that way, listening to us rant, rave, and talk all things college football. And that's all I got for today here, Fresh. We'll wrap this one up, and we'll just move on to the next.
Folks, Rivalry Week is a lot of fun, a lot of craziness, a lot of intrigue, a lot of drama. Can't wait for championship weekend to come up. Our preview is on the way. Hopefully join us for that. And until then, go Dogs and bye, y'all.